Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. My guest today is David Rubin, and David's first book was called God, Israel, and Shiloh. Hello, David. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, sir. Now,
Good.
the information that I have here on you talks about an Islamic tsunami. Is that...
Yes, the Islamic tsunami.
Tsunami, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Now, I've seen pictures, David, of what's going on in Europe. Of the Muslims filling up a street, blocking the intersections, and there seems. I've also seen the signs of the Muslims pretty much threatening all of Europe, and something similar is kind of happening here up in Dearborn, Michigan. Is that accurate?
Yes. You know, if I look, in order to really understand what I'm talking about, you have to do a little flashback. Okay, about 30 years ago, I visited a country called Sweden in northern Europe, a city called Malmo, which was a southern port city. And at that time, Malmo was a very peaceful seaport city where people could walk at all hours of the day, all hours of the night, and nobody was afraid. It was just a very friendly, warm, welcoming place. Well, 30 years later, Malmo, Sweden is 25% Muslim and growing. And this is it's a situation where women are afraid to walk in the parks not just at night, but in the daytime because of all the rapes of Swedish women by Muslim men. And if you look throughout Europe, you see situations like this being replicated over and over and over in Paris, in London, in Belgium, in Brussels, Belgium. You're talking 20-25% Muslim populations, and they're having a lot of children, and all the other families aren't. All the other families have maybe one or two and a cat or a dog, whereas the Muslim families have 5, 6, 7, 8 children to a family. And it's gotten to the point where someone like the Islamic dictator Muammar Gaddafi of Libya said, and I quote, "We have 50 million Muslims in Europe. There are signs that Allah will grant Islam victory in Europe without swords, without guns, without conquest. We'll turn it into a Muslim continent within a few decades." Now, we are talking about nuclear-powered Europe, NATO. This is very, very serious threat to Western civilization. And the pattern is being repeated in the United States. So
now, I am what the comments that you just made. I had just reread what Khrushchev said about the United States. He said the communists would take over in the United States without firing a shot.
Well, I don't think that the communist threat was ever as great as the threat from Islam.
Why did we have a, if the communists were no threat, why did we have a Cold War for 50 years?
The communists were a threat because of the takeover through politics and through violence, through military warfare. In that way, communism certainly was a threat. I'm not saying it wasn't a threat. However, from Islam, we have two kinds of threats. We have the threat of Islamic terrorism, which I know about firsthand, and we have what I call the silent tsunami, which is the quiet takeover, the quiet attempt to take over Judean-Christian civilization through demography, which was never a problem from communism, through the media, through education, and through legal steps to advance Sharia law, which is Islamic law in America, which will make everyone else second-class citizens or worse.
Didn't the Supreme Court a few years back, didn't the Supreme Court make some kind of ruling on Sharia law okaying it?
Well, there have been steps taken. I don't know of any specific Supreme Court decisions, but I can tell you that there have been decisions made. If you look at England, you see that Sharia law is quietly being approved, step by step. There was just this case in Oklahoma, where the population voted against any sort of integration of Sharia law into the laws of Oklahoma, and there was an immediate lawsuit by a Muslim activist in Oklahoma against that decision taken by the people. We're going to see things like this over and over. There's an organization which is called CARE, or the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is kind of a nice sounding name, but the fact is that it's really to be called the Council of Assault on Islamic American Relations, because that is what they are doing here. They're trying to, through legal steps, to make Sharia law the law of the land, make Islamic law the law of the land. And do you know what would happen if Islamic law became the law of the land? Do you know what the status would be of your average American citizen?
No. Please tell me. And if you can, while I'm stepping up here to my coffee pot to warm up my coffee, tell us exactly what Sharia law is. What is it? What changes would it make? So please, yes, go ahead and outline that for me.
Okay. Well, there was a concept called of a dhimmi, and a dhimmi means basically a second-class citizen, and something similar to those Jim Crow laws that existed in the South, only worse. I'll just give you some examples. I'll just pick out a few choice examples. Okay, if the laws of dhimmitude were from Sharia law were imposed in the United States of America, no Jews or Christians or anyone else would be allowed to repair any old places of worship, meaning non-Muslim places of worship, which have been destroyed by the Muslims. They are not to prevent Muslim travelers from staying in their places of worship. Okay, your average church in America would become a hotel for Muslims to stay over for free. They're to entertain for 3 days any Muslim who wants to stay in their homes, and for a longer period if the Muslim falls ill. They are not to prevent any non-Muslim from being converted to Islam. Any non-Muslim is not allowed to possess arms, weapons of any kind.